Let us now speak to our one and only Cardi P. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Alex.
All right, so come on. This is the sort of stuff we live for, isn't it? She's gone. Big cabinet reshuffle next week. What do you make of all of this? I find the sort of kindly words, to be honest, from Sir Laurie Magnus quite surprising. You know, sort of saying it's unfortunate and that it's a shame she didn't heed the caution contained that she should seek legal advice. I mean, I just don't know how. If someone says you better go and get expert advice on whether you owe all this money, that you somehow don't do that.
Well, it's exactly right, and so many in Westminster have been totally vindicated. It was a very, very different type of Angela Rayner we saw when she did that kind of mea culpa interview. Now she's gone, she's done the right thing, resigned as Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary. How on earth you could be Housing Secretary when you haven't paid your stamp duty, and Deputy Leader of the Labour Party? That's a big headache for Keir Starmer. We'll maybe chat about in a second. But certainly, you know, there will be many with smiles of glee on their faces. Someone who was on her moral high horse on many, many occasions about numerous people, mainly in the Conservative Party, but other parties as well, who have done similar things. Well, Angela Rayner has gone now. Her political career, at least for the moment, is over. It's very interesting, actually, what Sir Laurie Magnus said, as you correctly say. Oh, it's all a bit unfortunate. Well, guess what? After those lawyers last night around 6 o'clock, I was on air actually when it came through with the different newspapers, including The Sun, reporting on the lawyers saying, well, hold on a second, we are conveyancers. What we do is we get people into homes and we make sure the law is right and the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed when someone buys a new house. It's not our job to tell you what your tax liabilities are. And they acted on the, I felt sorry for the head of the firm. It was a family firm, a small family firm. They did the right thing. They acted on the information they were given. Guess what? Angela Rayner didn't give them the right information. She didn't take proper advice. I mean, no conveyancer is a tax lawyer. They're two very, very different things. And because of her carelessness, and it's not her first offence in regard to homes, well, Angela Rayner had to go. And that's what happened. Ministerial report came out. Ethics advisor said, you've broken the ministerial code. Now she's gone. Big headache for Keir Starmer on a number of fronts.
Yeah, she's now got to stump up that 40k to pay tax, man, and figure out how she's going to pay the mortgage on that big old property of hers. Now she's no longer a minister.
When her salary is now halved because it's gone down from being Deputy Prime Minister to just being an MP. Yeah.
Never Rayners, but it pours, which may be how Sir Keir Starmer is currently feeling, because he's going to be having to live through the turmoil of a deputy leadership election. But it's taking the opportunity to do a big old cabinet reshuffle. What do you expect from that?
Well, it'll be really interesting to see. We know Rachel Reeves is safe, but of course the question is there going to be a Deputy Prime Minister? Is that something that Keir Starmer actually wants? Who does he put in that role? Is it just a de facto thing, as it was for a long time under the Conservatives, where you just say, right, well, the next person in line, if Sir Keir Starmer should fall under a bus, is the first Secretary of State or whatever. It was Damien Green for a while under Theresa May, for example. So that's a question. Also, do you promote someone who's a rival? Someone like Wes Streeting, for example, the Health Secretary. Does he become Housing Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister? Where does that go? Who do you appoint Deputy Leader of the Labour Party? Because the rules of the Labour Party say that until the next conference, which actually is only a few weeks away, the Prime Minister, if they're in government, can appoint, the Cabinet can appoint a Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Now, in reality, this is another massive headache for Keir Starmer, because no matter how he reshuffles his team, no matter who ends up as his deputy in name or a de facto deputy, well, there's going to have to be a contest at some stage, probably in the next year, to be Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Now, you'll have all sorts of people standing for that, all sorts of people who don't like Keir Starmer. You're going to have maybe 4 or 5 people who will be making lots of criticisms of him, saying that things aren't going in the right direction from his own party. You'll have someone from the left of the party. You'll definitely have one of his welfare reform critics as well, those people who were the tail wagging the dog when he couldn't get his welfare reform changes through, even £5 billion of savings. So that's going to go on. That's going to be snapping at his heels. And then when that person, whoever that is, becomes deputy leader, if they're not in the cabinet already, there'll be a huge amount of pressure to say, well, they're deputy leader of the Labour Party, they've got to be in the cabinet, so another cabinet reshuffle or a job that can be given to that person who may well have been criticising Keir Starmer for months previously. So whilst he's got rid of one problem in Angela Rayner, there are many, many more problems that have just started for Keir Starmer. And if he's going to do a reshuffle, does he do it today? Does he do it over the next few days? He said on Monday, phase 2 was starting. I would imagine he's not enjoying phase 2 very much.
Well, it seems like he's already been bumped into phase 3, hasn't he? Cardi P, summer's definitely over and politics is back. What fun times we live in.